Hola parents, buenas noches. Are all the kids gone? Nope. I see a few in here. Buenas noches. Put your phones in the box. You know what to do. Anyway, it's back to school night. Let me get a little bit more professional. Hola, 6th grade parents. I'm your child's Spanish teacher. You're welcome. Welcome to my classroom. This is where your children will be spending a year with me learning Introduction to Spanish. Thank you so much for coming in this evening, taking time in your busy schedules to sit here with me and learn about this class. Hopefully there's going to be some good information for you about how I run my class, and hopefully I'll either confirm or dispel some rumors you might have heard about me. Now, I know the transition from elementary school to middle school can be a little bit scary, but I assure you, Spanish class is not the place for fear. We're gonna have a really good time this year. It's gonna be a lot of fun for the students. They're gonna be learning a lot about Spanish, and this is gonna be the foundation for their matriculation into level 1 next year, which will be a high school level class, and then into level 2 in the 8th grade year, which will be a second high school level class. About matriculation, once they finish my program here, if they're successful in completing all 3 years, they'll have 2 foreign language credits for high school, thus completing their satisfaction for world languages, and they will no longer have to take any more. Colleges really like to see 3 or more levels of a foreign language consecutively, but once they leave here, it's not necessary. Just a little bit extra. I have a couple of different policies in my class that you won't see in most other classes. I'm going to talk about those now. The 6th grade Intro to Spanish program is now a year-long program. It used to be only semester long, but they decided to switch it into a year when they knew that this was going to be a foundation for level 1 of Spanish. With that said, students in my class only get to use the bathroom 3 times a semester. Now, I know that might not seem like a lot, but the students have 4 other times throughout the day to use the bathroom in the school as well as during lunch. I find that if students are using the bathroom a lot during my class or during classes in general, they're usually bored. So I try to curtail that by only allowing them to use 3. Obviously, if it's an emergency, I'll let them go. But if using the bathroom in my class becomes a super consistent problem, I'm going to ask you to seek medical attention. Gracias. I try to keep my students in their seats as much as possible because there's this weird phenomenon of attention that when one student gets up out of their seat, everyone has to watch them exit the room and enter the room. So if they stay in the seats, they're all focused on me and they don't have to be focused on anything else. This goes with going to the water fountain. They're allowed to do that as well, but they must ask. They can't just get up and go. And throwing anything out as well. I ask them just to put it on the end of your desk and I'll take care of it. There's no need to walk around the room. I can do that. I love to keep the focus. Also, there's this other weird phenomenon with using the bathroom that once one student has to do it, all of a sudden all the other students' bladders wake up and say, oh, I really have to go too. So I hope that my policy tries to curtail that as much as possible. Obviously, again, if there is an emergency, I let them go, and if this is an actual issue, we can talk about it later. I also have a cell phone policy in my classroom. Now, Prince George's County Public Schools now has said that the students are to have their phones often in their locker, but I know sometimes the students forget. So this is my policy as follows. So when the students come into the classroom, immediately before sitting down, they come over and put their phones in a phone box that's right next to my desk. It stays there for the entire mod until we're going to use it for some kind of classroom instruction. And now, if we are going to do something that requires classroom instruction and an electronic device, we all take a little field trip down to the locker area so your children can get it. But if they do in fact forget and they bring it to class, they know they're immediately to put it in the box. That way I know they're not playing games in their desk, texting their friends in their desk, or taking selfies when I'm not looking. Yes, it does happen. Check their Instagram. I know a lot of teachers like to post assignments online and things like that. I do the same thing, but I do it in the form of Google Classroom. I used to have my own website called SenorGonzalez.com, but that costs a lot of money. So we went the free route and went Google Classroom. Thanks, PGCPS. Your students will have the code for that, and they should be able to use that any day and every day to see what we just did in class and to look for special assignments that are posted. If you need to know what your students are currently doing, just ask them to see the Google Classroom and you'll see. If you don't see anything up there for a while, feel free to shoot me an email and I'll go ahead and post it up there as well. Another different policy I have in my class is my homework policy. Actually, I don't have a policy. My policy is I don't give homework. And here's the reason why. The students have 4 other classes throughout the day that are probably giving them homework, or another creative art class on the other day they don't have me. And between extracurricular activities, sports and clubs after school, family time, a little bit of rest and just downtime, I want to be the last thing that the students are thinking about. Now, obviously that they can do homework at home, the workbook packets and stuff like that at home. That's fine with me, but I would prefer that the students actually do the work with me in class where I'm teaching them Spanish. I get it. Not a lot of you probably speak Spanish, and some of you probably took Spanish in high school and or 6 years of it in college, and you don't remember anything except for hola and cómo estás y dónde está el baño, and something about dame una cerveza, which you shouldn't have been learning in school, but you learned it anyway. I want to make sure that they're getting their Spanish grammar and vocabulary correct, and they're not using things like Google Classroom to help them translate stuff directly onto their homework. I know 100% of the time when students use Google Classroom because they're using different tenses, speaking in the past tense, or using words like embarazada, which sounds like embarrassed, but it doesn't. It actually means pregnant. And if that shows up on the homework, I'm going to be concerned. So let me help you help them by telling you, don't help them. I'll help them. Gracias. Also, in terms of the homework and the assignments that you see online on SchoolMax, please disregard the dates that you see there. I automatically copy the assignments from the previous year, so you're going to see a bunch of preloaded dates and preloaded assignments. I need to change the dates on those. I change the dates on those as we get to them every year, and every student learns a little bit differently. So sometimes it'll be a little bit shorter of a lesson, and the assignments will come sooner, or sometimes the lesson will take a little longer. So in fact, the dates will be a lot farther out. If in fact you are concerned, feel free to shoot me an email, as many as you can, just as a reminder to update and or just to check to see if your child is doing something. Now, I will say that if it comes to the end of the quarter and your student doesn't have a lot of stuff in, it's more than likely they're not doing their work. In all my years of doing this, I've learned something very important. I'm a teacher from 9:30 to 4:30, meaning I don't take homework with me. There's no point. I have another life. So if your child claims that they gave me an assignment but I never handed it back, you can say, are you sure? Because you can tell them, Senor Gonzalez says that the paper goes from them to the box, from the box to the desk, from the desk to the box, and the box back to them. I don't take my work home with me, so there's no way I could have lost it in this 4-foot area. The only other place it could be is in Panama. Panama's our lost and found. It's a table over to the right. I'll always have them check. Last thing I want to say is in terms of a textbook, there is a textbook inside of the desk, and I will have a link on the Google Classroom for the students to use an online textbook so they don't have to take the textbook home, lose it, and you have to pay for it at a certain point in time. Also, the majority of the stuff that we're going to be doing is done inside the classroom, so there's no real need for the student to take the textbook home. But if they really, really need one, I have extras they can in fact take home. But again, if you lose it, you got to pay for it. So let's just keep it in the classroom. So that's it. Thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you taking the time to come out here. I know this is going to be a really great year. 6th grade is a really great time to be in Spanish class because there's not the pressure of it being a high school level class, but we're still prepping for it. So there's still a good amount of work, but it's still a lot of fun. I really appreciate partnering with you, and please feel free to email me if you need anything. My email will be at the bottom of the page here. Feel free to copy it down. I appreciate all your help and your support, and hopefully I'll see you soon. And as we say at the end of class, and students, you can say it after I say it. Adios, clase. Buenas noches. Oh, don't forget to tip your Spanish teacher on the way out. He really works hard for you, and every little bit counts. Gracias.